Hey, I'm Matt Hinkle with Box Alarm Training. Today, we're actually going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to jump on a conversation with a good friend of mine named Michael Taylor. He's part of Dixie Firemanship. And we're basically going to run through just a couple of questions and stuff like that, kind of intro to Dixie Firemanship and what they do, and maybe get some questions answered about some truck stuff or something like that. So let's see what he's up to. Now that I have you on, I'm just going to get you to kind of introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and then we'll get into the Dixie firemanship stuff in a minute. But just kind of introduce yourself, where you're from, and what you do.
I am from Corinth in Northeast Mississippi. I started October the 10th of 1999 at Winnesoga, which is a small volunteer department just west of town where we live. I was there for about 5 years. Decided I wanted to do this for a career. Paid my way through the academy as a volunteer in 2004, and then got a job as soon as I turned 21 here at Corinth, and I've been here for the past going on 16 years. Spent about 7 years as a firefighter, 3 years as a engineer, and I've been a lieutenant for be 5 in September now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah, so a lieutenant for Corinth is actually a company officer, not a driver, but
yeah. Right. Yeah, no, our drivers are engineers. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
company officer at Station 3. I'm on the west side.
Yeah. I have I wrote down some questions, but I was going to ask a few different things, but one of the big ones, because you're with Dixie Firemanship, and I'll get to that in just a minute because we kind of want to explain that. But because Dixie Firemanship has become really like a big teaching thing, like a cadre of instructors, I had the same thing. I was talking to you earlier, but basically, when did you realize, like, you're a firefighter, everybody's done it, you go through the basic firemanship stuff, but when did you realize that you did not have the training you thought you should have, or that you should start going to learn the trade more? How did that happen?
Well, like I say, I started at Corinth in 04, and in 2013, we got a grant to buy a ladder truck to come to headquarters where I was an engineer at. Before then, we'd had an engine that we run out of and a backup secondary ladder truck that sat there unmanned. And nobody gave it much thought. The other crew would always swing by and get it if we needed an elevated master stream or however it worked out that way. And they said, well, we got this grant. We're going to replace y'all's engine and ladder 102 with a mid-mount Quint, and y'all are going to be in it from now on. And at the time, Jeff Higgard was our training officer who had left Corinth and went to Memphis, and he came back part-time as a training officer. So started, realizing that there was a difference. Of course, you always knew it was. You just never really knew what the difference between an engine and a truck was. And then we got into that, and didn't have any hand tools were slim to none, pickhead axes, pry bars, not really any Halligans. Stuff like this was on our engines. Nobody really knew what there was, so we started asking for a Halligan and some better tools, and realized that I didn't know how to use a Halligan. So this was about the time we all started getting to have smartphones and Chromecast to watch stuff on TV. So me and the guys I work with would look up stuff, and we found Sean Wilson, who had Search and Destroy at the time, was Search and Destroy. We started watching his videos, and of course, he's got 100,000 free videos out there, and then it ties into Mike Perone's videos, and and then it just down at the bottom, you start having this list of resources of talking about stuff we didn't know existed.
Yeah.
So I've always learned, and I've always liked being doing as much as I could, which was always just the basic, when you carry a pickhead axe, you hold it this way, and you never sharpen stuff with an angle grinder. You got to use a file and that type of stuff. And then we found this whole thing, a lot of welding and cutting on tools since then. So, but yeah, and it just kind of snowballed from there. Facebook, got to knowing people, got to knowing you through the academy, more on stuff like that, and it just went from there. And then the network of people got bigger, and the bigger it got, the more you realized you didn't know, and then it just went on and on and on.
And the journey going.
Yeah.
So I didn't even write this one down, but I did think about it earlier because I've talked to you a bunch about it. But you've traveled around the country and taken some classes. What were the big ones that you took that kind of like you realized these are the places you really need to go if you want to learn stuff?
We went to Art of Firemanship Days in 2018, I believe, and that was a phenomenal. That was the first, other than FDIC, that was the first firemanship conference I'd went to with a group. I had been to Command Officer Boot Camp, Panama City, one of Kurt Isaacson's classes.
Yeah.
In 17, I believe it was 17 or 18. We went down there, and that was really good. It introduced me to a lot of, bigger name people that was teaching a lot of firemanship and just kind of saying what everybody wanted to hear. And I'm talking about that, another defining moment to me was we'd always been taught about, well, you might get into this later, but about the me, and then Ray McCormick's Values of a Fireman was on YouTube. And that was like, it's okay for me to think like this. I was always kind of that closet guy that didn't want to say it because you didn't want to be shamed for not coveting your own life. But yeah, that was one of another defining moments. Like, it's okay to say this stuff. It's okay to want to do.
Yeah.
And that was,
and then you
that,
start
that
realizing
was always,
a lot more people like you. Like you start realizing that.
There's weird. Apparently there's weird people everywhere, because that's what we get pigeonholed as a lot, is weird or with death wishes, or however that plays out. But
yeah,
that couldn't be further from the truth.
So basically, you have all this classes, you have this background, you start building up firemanship, and then Dixie Firemanship comes along. So when did you join Dixie Firemanship? What is it? Who is it? That kind of stuff.
That is that whole deal. Me and Jake Chappell from over around Huntsville, Alabama, had been talking some on Facebook, just as friends, didn't know each other from nobody. And one day on truck floor training, a guy had took a 8-pound sledgehammer and welded a flat piece of steel on it and called it a sledge adze or something like that. And I commented something about modifying tools was an addiction. Well, next thing you know, me and Andrew Pristak had got to where we was talking all the time.
Yep.
So I would be talking to Jake some, and then I'd talk to Andrew some, and it wasn't somewhere in that time frame. Brass Tacks and Hard Facts came out. Yep. And I had wanted to do a group down here because nobody, and I had done hook and nozzle at this time too, just kind of I had a door prop and just something to get out and do a little teaching.
Yeah. And so people know hook and nozzle was your own training, or still is, I guess, your own training company.
Right. It is. Yep. It's more of it's still linked to my Instagram, so I can post stuff there and it just automatically goes to it. That's kind of where it's at right now. But the Brass Tacks and Hard Facts thing had came out. So me and Andrew, and I, like I said, I'd been thinking about it for a while. And I was like, it'd be cool if we had like the Dixie Mafia, of like Southern people and, stuff like that. But I mentioned it to Andrew, and he's like, yeah, that's all, that's a good idea. And we can do some videos along and stuff like that. And got to Googling Dixie Mafia, and apparently it's people that sell drugs on the coast. So we're like, okay, we might not need to use that name. So after this, about the time all this was going on, we had our first truck company operations class here in Corinth. It was a one-day class. I had the Middle Tennessee Fools guys. They was gracious enough to come down and help us put it on. We had, like I said, a one-day class. Then we had 9 stations they rotated through. And Andrew volunteered to come down from Virginia. He said he was going to take the class, and we wound up and made him pay to teach the class. It's kind of been the running joke ever since. So got to know him. Dustin Sinclair, he came down and helped teach it. Craig Hicks and Adam Cordell had come over just because it was a cheap class to come over and take it. And, I kind of knew them from seeing them, I guess, the whole social media crowd where you'll see somebody like something or comment, and then you get to be friends that way. And so we had this core group of guys that was at this one event, and we didn't realize. So we got to talking, and Jake and them came over, Jake Chappell, and got to talking, and we said, well, hey, let's come up with a group, and we'll, of course, this part failed miserably, but we'll put a video out once a week. And so we got the little group together. And to begin with, it was me and Andrew and Jake. And then we said, okay, we need somebody from Tennessee. So we knew Dustin Sinclair was about our age, and, he was into this stuff and still had the time to do it, I guess, wasn't burdened down with families and other jobs. And then the same thing, we got Adam and Craig. We said, we'll get them on board, and it's kind of growed from there. But that was kind of the beginning of it. And one thing I've always kind of bragged about Dixie about is we try to do stuff on Facebook, but we don't really get that much out there like we would want to. But we're actually in the field doing training more than our social media presence lets on like it is, I guess.
Yep.
So that's
I've run into the same thing, because people ask me, when are you going to post another video? And like y'all found out, it's really, really challenging to post videos all the time. Especially when you're, when you're busy teaching. Like I see pictures on social media. Well, I think you and I have even talked about it, where you see guys that are teaching and they're posting photos out teaching. I'm like, how do you even do that? I don't ever have, when I'm actually teaching, I don't have enough time to take a photo of myself or video myself teaching. It's too busy. Like I've never been able to do that.
Never crosses my mind. I'm doing
Yeah.
the best I can to just remember what little bit I need to teach somebody, no less produce a video to go with it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
it's interesting.
So my next question on that's kind of the background of Dixie Firemanship, and you named out a bunch of instructors. I hope, we talked about it, trying to get them on and doing this with kind of each of them too, so that they can kind of share some of the stuff they have. One thing that I put on here is where can you take a class from Dixie Firemanship? Like, where have you taught? Where have people been taking classes?
I believe Josh Frederick is one of our guys. He's originally from New Jersey. He was working at Maryland when we first got to know him. He came on with us. He's in Louisville, Texas right now. He's done some classes from.
How about that? Can
yeah, there it is.
His picture.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, that's him.
Yep.
But yeah, he's done some classes out that way, and then we've done some in Arkansas. We've done some in Anne Arundel County, Maryland, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas. I thought I said Arkansas. So just kind of this area. Mm-hmm. Our big ones we do every year, are started to do every year now, is, of course, training at the Crossroads, which is here in March every year.
Yep.
We was going to do the Mississippi Firefighter Convention this year in May. We was going to do the Smoky Mountain Training Weekend in 1st of June, the Arkansas Firefighter Conference, the end of June. Of course, this whole COVID-19 has demolished all of them plans.
Right.
Then we have Tennessee River Weekend, which you came up and helped us with last year in Savannah, Tennessee. And, we'll come out to people's department. We've done several departments bring us in to teach forcible entry or to teach, searching ladders or, whatever it is. And, that's easy.
Hey, I've got a couple pictures. I guess the first time I ran into y'all was, obviously I've known you for a long time just because of being in Mississippi in the academy. But when I started meeting the other guys, was training at the Crossroads. And training at the Crossroads is, if people don't know where Corinth, Mississippi is, it's kind of just south of Memphis. I mean, it's practically right at Memphis, or the Tennessee, Mississippi.
Yeah, we're
very north corner of the state.
Yeah, we're right, kind of
right up there. So
east.
So I basically, I had a few pictures to kind of walk through, but this is obviously two other Dixie instructors, which it's kind of apparent they do like to have a good time when they're teaching. But then, so I think this was a station that you were kind of at, kind of, I guess, just show or explain, like, what was this station part of this training at the Crossroads? What were they doing?
This station right here, they had a boarded up condition when we got there. Our bars condition, what we do is we just take a pallet and screw it to the wood frame in this Connex box. We had a fire going in the other end. When they went into that room, it was like an 8x12 bedroom with a door they could shut and isolate the room. And then they could extend on. We had a hall made with two other bedrooms. Of course, they were smaller because it was just one Connex box. But then you could, extend your search beyond the door, not trying to get people not hung up in so much the isolate part, because that's something you can't always do. Or starting to search from a window is no different than the door, as long as you're oriented and realize that you're starting to search from a window, not a door. And that is kind of get people through. And that was just one of our few live fires that Dixie as a group ever really gets to do is here. And
and we've kind of, I guess, to kind of explain too, we kind of got like truck side, engine side, search side, forcible entry or FE side, and this was just one of those stations. And of course, I've always been on the engine side, so I haven't really gotten to I don't work as much with you as I do with the other guys on the engine side. But then this one is pretty unique. So I don't know a lot of people even know about it, but it's a really cool kind of story. But of course, he's from right there where you are at training at the Crossroads. So I was going to let you kind of give a background on what happened here, like with Jay and how this all happened.
Jay knew some of the guys that work here at Corinth, and he came there first.
What's Jay? Give him his full name.
Jay Poindexter. He's from Mickey, Tennessee, just north of us, volunteer department up there. Fairly as busy as most are in this area. And Jay wanted to come down and train with us. Our second year we done this maybe, and they was like, hey guys, our training officer knew him or knew his family maybe, and said, hey guys, we've got somebody coming to train with us, and he's in a wheelchair, so if y'all can kind of help him with stuff. And I'm like, there's no way a guy in a wheelchair can do any of this stuff we're doing. So he came and he's been to several different. He forces doors. He does searches, victim drags. As best he can. I've seen him climb ladders. As much nozzle stuff as he can do. So and it's always really good to have Jay there, just because number one, Jay's a genuinely good guy, and he is a real wealth of knowledge when it comes to a lot of stuff. And it's just always good to have Jay around. Jay comes to most of our stuff. He's an honorary Dixie guy. He comes and helps out, and he's helped us teach forcible entry at the Tennessee River weekend. He'd help with the station and stuff. One of the stories about him was after he took one of our forcible entry classes. It was like the next week, sometime in the next week, they got there and they had a duplex on fire. It was an old gas station. It had been turned in, if I'm getting this wrong, he'll kill me, but best I can remember, it gas station into two separate apartments. He said, well, he gets there in his personal vehicle. The engine was done on scene, and somebody was trying to they had the fire blacked out in the, I guess is the left apartment, and they was trying to get in the right apartment. So this guy was up here just, kicking on the door trying to get it in. And he said, well, he goes up there and says, hey man, can I help you? And they said, yeah, we need to get him. Make sure.
Hang on. He rolls up. That's the part that's so funny. It's like somebody struggling to force the door, and this guy rolls up in a wheelchair to force the door.
So he's been sitting here kicking it for, how firemen are. They'll kick a door for 25 minutes, try to do something else. And Jay has his own set of irons at this point, and gets up there and he says, hey man, can I try this? And he said, within like 3 strikes and just the most basic force ever, he was into the building. They could check for extensions and finish their whatever it was they had going on. And I always thought that was a good story because kind of reinforces the whole technique over.
Yeah. And I guess so people know too, not to, like, Jay's super capable of doing everything, but Jay's not, his job on the fire department is not to go search the building. They're using he's like a communications officer, I think, or something like that, or but he loves or something like that, but he loves training and everything. So just people don't think he's out there like doing crazy stuff or something. He's not.
I think he's a communications officer, safety guy. I think that's what he does when he shows.
Yeah. So I guess I wanted to share just striking tools, because we could spend 2 weeks talking about forcible entry tools and stuff, but you're obviously more of a truck style type guy, or a forcible entry guy. But this is just a picture of a bunch of forcible entry striking tools for the most part, and then I know you've got quite a collection yourself. But if you want to just kind of run through some striking tools, maybe people should look at what fits what. Like, should you be a lighter, like a piglet, or what's the difference between 6s and 8s, and who is that for? That kind of stuff. I don't know. Just a basic background of striking tools.
So one thing I see a lot in striking tools, just talking to people in general, is they want the coolest, fanciest thing, and a lot of times, that might not be what we actually need. Mm-hmm. The one on the far right, the lock slot 8, just as far as a striking tool and overall fire axe, is hard to beat.
Yeah.
For the price, the balance, the strapless Marion, you don't have to have a strap or nothing. It's hard to beat. You can use it for a wedge. Good metal. It's easy to take care of. Normally comes with a good handle. And then it seemed like you got 2 piglets there.
Yeah.
I had a piglet, never got to use it much. 6 pounds. The one thing that don't get talked about much with a piglet is the way the pick is designed on it, especially compared to the pig next to it. It's really good for residential forces. Like if you're going to do a baseball bat swing or something, because it has enough of a curve to it that your fulcrum is not, 8-10 inches away at the other end on the striking surface. And that was one thing that they really shine at that I don't see get talked about a whole lot. And of course you got the 8-pound pig, which to my knowledge was the one that got people thinking, hey, I don't have to have a sharp bit on an axe for it to be a useful fire service tool. I've got one of them. It goes on the rig every ship. The bad axe, it's was it 7 pounds?
Yeah, I don't know the exact weight. And honestly, this is an order that we received not long ago. It's kind of an assortment of tools, or this is kind of the stuff that I have on campus to work with. And I've had very little time with a bad axe. I mean, I very, very little. Just got it.
What I've had dealings with them is just mainly been seeing them at a class or two, and I can't really speak for when I read Sean Wilson's review of them on his Rise Above page, and he speaks really highly of them. So that that goes a long way. They're more of a bail out kind of a multi-function. To me, if I was going to look for something that was actually multi-function, that's probably about the most practical. Most of the time when you multi-function something, you lose it at its base value on any of the things you try to multi-function out of it. So that one, I think, actually does multiple things pretty well. And then the Iron Fox axe, I've got a flathead one of them floating around here somewhere. It's more of a roof tool. It's not balanced really as good for forcible entry, but I reckon it will absolutely destroy
yeah, the Iron Fox, that picture was just a pick head. We also have a flathead, but I'm the same way. The Iron Fox, forcible entry, like balance and all that stuff. But man, on a roof, roof vent stuff, man, it will absolutely tear apart roof decking. I mean, it's
with them being an 8-pound axe, it'll do work on forcible entry. It's just not, what it loses on that, it picks up on roof side and stuff.
Yeah, the striking surface on it's a lot narrower than something like the Pig or the Lock Slide 8 or something like that. But cool. Yeah. So anyway, I guess last thing is kind of where can people go to follow Dixie Firemanship, or where can they go? If they want a class, like if people want a class course right now, it's kind of challenging, but if they want to get on the calendar, or anything like that, I know that stuff's coming up. So
our Facebook page is where we do most of our business through Dixie Firemanship LLC, I guess on Facebook, however you put that in. But
I'll post the
we also have a community page that not many people know about yet, where if you do something cool, you can get on there and post it. People can comment on it. And we monitor pretty well. There's not going to be a lot of bashing. If somebody wants to give constructive criticism, we'll let them. But as far as getting on there like some of the other pages where it gets out of hand with negativity and stuff, we ain't going to let. And then we've got another community page, Training Board, which is if you've got a training event coming up, especially in the South, get on there, post it, where other people can see it. We have an Instagram page, and but if you want a class, get on there. Hit us up through our messenger, and then we'll see it and go from there on who's your closest person, and they'll be who helps coordinate you with that. Or if they holler, and they say, "Hey, I want to do one in North Mississippi. I want an engine class." I'm gonna say, "Okay, I'm gonna put you in touch with somebody else." But that's the best way to get.
Y'all have a website. You have a website too, but it's but I'll post the links to everything. Facebook. Yeah. I think you're still running the website, right? I guess you are. I'm pretty sure you do.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So
that's something else that we're working on. Is, the shirts and the stickers and all that. Something we've had a hard time because nobody really has time to deal with it. And I've just told them I'm not going.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. So I'm going to end it with this one. Because we got a picture of this a little bit. People were probably really confused when we were talking about it in one of those last episodes. But this is Michael. I get my side of the story before you get your side of the story. So I had set my jacket. This is my jacket. I'd set my jacket down, and him and Dustin Ford, who are also both guys that help teach all the time and stuff. This is at the academy. Well, of course, unknown to me, Michael takes my jacket with Dustin as the photographer, and they start modeling with my Filson jacket, because that's the engine guy thing. So, and of course, Dustin had his raincoat that he had, and he Sharpied Filson on it, or whatever he did. I can't remember what he did, but it was pretty comical. But anyway, that's Michael out in the training field, trying to do some modeling at the same time. So anyway,
hey, maybe it'll turn into something.
You never know. Well, anyway, I appreciate it coming. I know it was kind of, long, or not long, but I don't want to go too long because we've covered some stuff. We can always come back and do some more stuff, but that's a good background of Dixie Firemanship, and I appreciate you coming on and talking, especially right now.
Yeah.
It's tough for anybody. Yeah. So sounds good. And I'll holler at you later.
All right. See you, Mike.
Again, thanks to Michael Taylor for jumping on and talking with us. Hopefully you learned a little something. I'm hoping to do several more of these with a bunch of the guys that I know that kind of teach around the country, and they really are subject matter experts. I mean, they really do know their stuff, and it's pretty interesting to get to talk to them. So if you want to see other videos, don't forget to like like this video and subscribe to the channel. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and obviously the YouTube channel. So I'll post all of this stuff on my website also, boxalarmtraining.com. Probably put up an article with all the links to all these different places so that you can go find them. And until then, we'll see you in the next video.